Power dialers and email, a B2B outreach duo. Why power dialers and cold email work better together. When calling and email run as separate workflows, prospects experience you as two different brands, and your SDR team pays the price in missed meetings. In 2025, cold email still produces replies, but average performance is only about 5.1%, which means most sequences need help creating real conversations at scale. The fastest path to more meetings isn't choosing a single channel, it's coordinating phone and email as one outreach system. Cold calling hasn't died either, but the math is unforgiving. Typical connect rates sit around 3 to 10%, and dial-to-meeting rates hover near 2.3% in many B2B segments. That's exactly why a power dialer matters, because it increases the number of live conversations you can earn from the same list, without hiring a bigger team. Done right, you're not spamming harder, you're creating more chances to speak with the right people and using email to build context before and after the call. At SalesHive, we treat this as the core operating model for modern outbound, a coordinated cadence where each touch has a job and each channel supports the next step. Whether you're building internally or working with a cold calling agency, the goal stays the same. Measure the combined motion on meetings and pipeline, not vanity metrics like opens or raw dials. What a power dialer actually changes beyond more dials. A power dialer's obvious benefit is throughput. Manual dialing often caps reps around 10 to 15 calls per hour, while power dialers can drive 50 to 60 plus calls per hour by removing lookup time, ringing downtime, and manual logging. In an environment where only a small fraction of calls connect, that time savings is the difference between a few conversations a week and enough conversations to consistently book meetings. The less obvious benefit is discipline. When your dialer and CRM are integrated, you can standardize retry logic, enforce attempt caps per contact, and schedule callbacks at realistic windows, so reps don't randomly hammer the same number or abandon a strong account after one bad day. This is where cold calling services become a predictable system instead of a heroic effort from one rep. The trap is using the dialer like a volume cannon. If your ICP is vague and your data is messy, a power dialer just helps you burn through the wrong contacts faster, which damages brand trust and exhausts SDRs. The winning approach is precision. Use speed to eliminate waste, then reinvest the reclaimed time into relevance, better research, better notes, and better follow-up emails that reference what actually happened on the call. Email benchmarks: strong channel, weak closer. Cold email is still a top channel because it scales and it's easy for buyers to engage on their schedule. But modern benchmark data paints a clear picture. Average reply rates are around 5.1%, and another 2025 analysis reports average response rates near 8.5%, with many campaigns stuck in the 1 to 5% range. Top performers earn 12 to 15% plus, and in highly personalized plays can reach 15 to 25% plus, but that requires tight targeting and consistent follow-up. Email is excellent at warm-up. It delivers context, proof, and a reason for your name to feel familiar. What email struggles with is closing the meeting in real time, reading tone, handling objections, and navigating the why now that drives true conversion. That's where calling becomes the heavy lift channel, especially when your reps can reference a recent email and start the conversation on third base instead of first. A practical way to judge performance is to look at phone and email together, because the buyer experiences you as one conversation. Use the table below to anchor expectations before you optimize messaging, list quality, and cadence design. How to architect one integrated cadence, not two separate campaigns. The highest performing teams design outreach around buyer behavior, not SDR convenience. Gartner Topo-style benchmarks show 80% of world-class SDR teams use at least 3 channels and average roughly 15.5 touches per contact, which is why a one-off email plus a couple calls rarely moves the needle. The point of integrating a power dialer with email is to create controlled persistence without becoming noisy or repetitive. Start with a single shared blueprint, one ICP definition, one offer narrative, and one set of touch rules that your team follows regardless of channel. A simple, effective pattern is: email first to establish context, call the next day referencing the email, then send a same-day follow-up email after the call, even if it was no answer, that adds a relevant insight or resource. As an outbound sales agency or an internal SDR function, you win when each touch references the last and advances the story. From there, segment by persona and buying stage, not just industry, so your scripts and emails sound like they were written for a real human role. Executives typically need fast credibility and a clear business case. Managers often care about workflow impact and how implementation actually works. This is the moment to buy back time with your dialer and spend it on relevance, because high-speed dialing on low-fit data is the fastest way to torch a list. If phone and email don't tell the same story in the same cadence, you don't have multi-channel outreach, you have multi-channel noise. Best practices that lift replies, connects, and meetings. Use email to do the warm-up and phone to do the heavy lifting. When prospects see your name, your company, and a relevant problem statement before a call block, live connects tend to last longer and objections are easier to handle. This is also where coordinated multi-channel sequencing shines. Combining LinkedIn with email can drive roughly 3 times better conversions than single-channel outreach, and multi-channel strategies have been associated with about a 287% increase in engagement versus single-channel approaches. Make post-call follow-up emails mandatory and immediate. Your dialer workflow should automatically create a same-day email task after every connect and every meaningful no-answer attempt, with templates that reference the attempted call and restate the relevant hook in plain language. This is one of the simplest improvements a sales development agency can implement because it standardizes what top reps already do and prevents momentum from dying in a CRM note nobody reads. Finally, clean your data before you scale automation. Whether you're running an in-house SDR agency function or leaning on sales outsourcing, your systems amplify whatever you feed them, good or bad. Auditing and removing the lowest fit 20 to 30% of accounts often produces a faster lift than buying another tool because it improves reply quality, reduces spam complaints, and raises connect rates by avoiding wrong numbers and wrong roles. Common mistakes that kill performance and how to fix them. Mistake 1 is treating the power dialer as a pure volume play. When reps chase 200-plus dials without tighter targeting or better talk tracks, you get lots of activity and very few meetings, and you risk damaging your brand across a small market. The fix is to cap daily attempts per contact, prioritize well-scored microsegments, and coach conversation quality so more connects turn into real next steps. Mistake 2 is running disconnected messaging. If your email says one thing, your call sounds like a different offer, and your LinkedIn outreach repeats the same generic line, prospects experience you as disjointed and pushy. The fix is narrative continuity. Every touch should reference the last interaction, and your scripts should explicitly tie back to the email hook so the call feels like a continuation, not a restart. Mistake 3 is optimizing for vanity metrics while ignoring governance. Opens and dials are diagnostic, not the scoreboard. Your scoreboard is positive replies, meetings booked, and pipeline per 100 contacts. At the same time, scaling requires deliverability and compliance fundamentals like SPF, DKIM, DMARC, warmed sending domains, clear opt-outs, and appropriate do not call scrubbing, especially if you're running telemarketing or B2B cold calling services across multiple regions. Optimization, coaching, KPIs, and a stack that behaves like one system. If you want the 3 times, 4 times more calls benefit of power dialing to translate into pipeline, you need coaching that mirrors the sequence. Reps should be trained to open calls by referencing the most recent email, handle 2 to 3 common objections, and confidently ask for the meeting in under 90 seconds. Regular call reviews and role plays prevent the most frustrating failure mode. More connects, but no increase in meetings, because reps freeze or ramble. Define shared KPIs across the entire cadence so the team doesn't optimize one channel at the expense of another. A practical weekly scorecard includes meetings per 100 contacts, positive reply rate, connect to meeting rate, and pipeline created, not just open rates or call counts. This is where a strong B2B sales agency mindset helps. Everything rolls up to revenue outcomes, and the channels are simply levers you pull with intent. Finally, make your tooling behave like one platform, even if you're using multiple vendors. Your CRM should be the source of truth. Your power dialer should write clean activity data back to the CRM. And your email sequencing should trigger tasks and next steps based on call outcomes. At SalesHive, we built our process around that orchestration, so calls, emails, and social touches operate as one system, which is why teams evaluating an outsourced sales team often ask us about end-to-end sequence governance, not just best cold calling services. Next steps: roll it out safely and scale what works. Start with a pilot that's small enough to control and large enough to be statistically meaningful. Pick one ICP slice, one persona, and one offer. Then run an integrated cadence for 2 to 3 weeks with consistent touch timing. Your goal in the pilot isn't perfection. It's learning which hooks create replies, which call opens extend talk time, and which segments produce the cleanest meetings. As you scale, preserve quality by formalizing governance. That means documented attempt caps, deliverability guardrails, consistent opt-out handling, and clear ownership of list hygiene. Whether you hire SDRs internally, work with a cold email agency, or partner with an SDR agency for sales outsourcing, the best programs treat data, messaging, and compliance as a single operating discipline. If you don't want to build all of this in-house, the alternative isn't spray and pray. It's plugging into a mature outbound engine. SalesHive has helped B2B teams operationalize dialer plus email cadences with strong list-building services and consistent coaching. But the bigger lesson applies to any team. Unify the system, measure what matters, and iterate based on meetings and pipeline. That's how you turn a power dialer and email from 2 tools into a predictable outbound motion.